If I lost my girlfriend and had to get a new one in the next 30 days, this is exactly what I would do as a busy working professional. I would not go to bars and clubs. I would not go to, book clubs or, walk around malls or any of that crap. I would go to specific things that I know my ideal type of girl is going to be into. If she is more adventurous and you want someone who's outdoorsy, well, guess what? You're going to find her at, you know, meetup groups around rock climbing or hiking, or you're going to find her at, art classes or whatever. You figure out what is your type of girl and you think about what quality she has and think where that person would go. Now, when you first start doing this, it's not going to work perfectly because the best groups in any city are not going to be on meetup.com. They're not going to be, publicly broadcasted because they're very curated, they're very private. But that's not the point. The point is to get you going out there and getting that social muscle. You have to think of socializing like an actual skill you are developing, like you're going to the gym. The mistake that a lot of guys make is they don't break this out into steps. They think, oh, I want to meet an attractive girl. So I'm just going to go out there and start talking to the first person that I see and just hope and spray and pray and hope for that, maybe I'll find her. It doesn't work like that. You have to be very articulate and curated with the way that you do it and to be very precise. So what you're going to do is first, like I said, you're going to start going to these events and getting social. Like you're going to the gym, you're working out your social muscle because the reality is if you even do find the girl that you're into, you're going to screw it up because you don't know how to consistently and reliably build attraction. Because I can guarantee what you're doing right now, which is what most busy professionals do, is they can have friendly conversations, but it feels nothing more than like a business transaction. It's like I'm talking to a coworker and we went to lunch on Tuesday. It's not romantic. There's no lover type of vibe. There's no romance. So you need to break out of this, friendly dynamic and learn how to spark attraction. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So the first step is to go to these meetup groups or to find events, in your city. And then what you're going to do at these events, and this is very important, it's not what you're going to think it is, you're not going to hit on anyone. You are going to have friendly conversations. And when you have those conversations, you're going to make sure that you're actually interesting. You talk about topics that the other person's into. You show that you're a cool person. And then what you're going to do is you're going to ask them, hey, are there any other events that you go to that are like this? You seem like you're someone who's pretty cool, right? Now, you ask this after you've had a good conversation. Now, I'll tell you how to have a good conversation in a second, but I want to stick on this track. So, what you're going to do is you're going to ask that, and they're going to tell you about other events. Some of them are public, some are not. And this is what I did in my city when I lived in Austin. I used to get invited to this party by this guy, David, and he had this house party with like 80 or 100 people that would always show up every 2 weeks. And I met a lot of people there. But the only reason I found out about it was because I got in with someone else who introduced me to that party. And so I got invited to it. Now it wasn't a typical like house party. It was more like a, event for people who wanted to be social and wanted to meet people. But I would have never found out about it if I didn't go to these other events first. So what you're going to do is you're going to leverage these events and these people almost as like a way of getting in to where you really want to get to. Even if the girl's attractive and she might be your exact type, you want to become friends with her because what you have to realize is that attractive girls hang out with other attractive girls. So if you become friends with her and you show her that you're cool and you're interesting and you strategically place yourself in environments where she's going to want to invite you to those places, guess what? She's going to invite her friends there. She's going to introduce her friends, tell them how cool you are. Now it's no longer a cold approach, it's a warm approach because now you're actually thinking about it strategically. And because you're a good catch, because you're, someone who has their life together, you're probably established, you're getting promoted at your job, you have things going on, it's going to be easy. They're going to want to introduce you to people. Now, back to the point of now that you're doing this and you want to have interesting conversations, the question is, well, how do I have those interesting conversations? I like to have the acronym HAT, which stands for hobbies, ambitions, and travel. Those are the topics that people normally like to talk about because they're interesting. Everyone loves to talk about what they're into, what they're passionate about, the things in the direction their life is going. Where's the coolest place they traveled recently, or like what's the best place they've gone to that no one talks about, or where do they want to travel to? What's on their destination bucket list? These are things that people find interesting. Now, does that mean that she's going to be attracted to you? No. But the point is, if she's enjoying the conversation, don't you think she's going to want to keep talking to you? Which then gives you more time to build attraction. But you have to have the interesting conversation first. So that's why I like to talk about those topics, because what do most guys do? They talk about, what do you do for work? Where are you from? How long have you lived here? Right? You know, who do you know at this party? How long you go to this networking event? Those are boring questions that every other guy's asking her. So if you think about it, the highest quality women that you want to be around, they're getting asked the same questions by every other guy. So your job is to not categorize yourself. If you put yourself in the category as, oh, just another person, you're going to have to work uphill. So we want to put ourselves into this category over here where you're not worried about that. You're different. Now, from there, because you're not talking about stuff they don't care about and you're talking about topics they're actually, interested in, then you can leverage that. You can then start to flirt and build attraction, which we'll talk about in the next step. But again, you're not doing that yet. You're just having interesting conversations. Then you're going to exchange numbers with people and say, hey, like, what other events are you going to? Oh, cool. Like, I would love to go sometime. Like, that sounds cool. Like, I don't want to, barge in on your party, but maybe we can go, next time together. You could let me know. They're going to say yes. And then get numbers, and then boom. Now you're walking into the next party with a girl or multiple girls that are your friends, but again, you're walking in with girls. So what's that going to happen? Other girls are going to see that. They're going to assume you're probably dating, or even if you're not dating, because you have the dynamics of you are around attractive girls and you're friendly, what's that register in a girl's brain? Oh, this guy's not creepy because girls don't hang out with creepy guys. Whereas every other guy is coming to these events alone. You see how that works? Now you're coming with someone. Then what you're going to do from there is, because that person has been there before, you could say, hey, could you introduce me to some people you know? Or people are going to come up to her and say, oh, hey, it's good to see you again. And then from there, you're going to, they're obviously going to say hi, or like, hey, this is Daniel, by the way, where you can make a little funny like cough, like, oh, sorry, this is Daniel, and then they're going to introduce. And now what? Now you're in conversation. It's way easier. Then you can ask what they do for fun, what are they into, how do they know each other, things like that, and get the vibe up in the conversation. Then you can start to spark attraction. But I wouldn't even recommend that. I would just start becoming friendly with people in these environments, start getting invited to these things, master the skill of opening conversations, being fluid, being someone who is actually interesting and interested in other people. Because one of the easiest ways to be someone who's interesting is, as I just said, to be interested in someone else. If you show genuine curiosity, if you're not someone who's just waiting for your turn to speak, you're actually listening to what they're saying and showing genuine curiosity by saying, oh, wow, that's so cool. Like, what made you want to do that? Or what's the reason for that? Why'd you start doing that? You ask these questions that elicit their values about the world, how they see the world, their beliefs, and what they're into. It allows you to have a human connection, right? You create that connection. And then from there, you can start to spark attraction. Well, how do you do that? Well, the easiest way is to flirt and tease and mess around. So what I like to do is I like to make little jokes, right? So she might say like, "Oh, I'm really into, yoga or working out." And I'm like, "Oh, don't tell me you're one of those girls who likes to wake up and at 5 a.m. and has like an 8-step routine before, the morning even starts." And she's gonna laugh because you're just joking around, right? You're giving her shit. Or like, the best way to think about it is like, how would you tease your best friend? How would you tease your little sister if you had one? That is how you flirt and banter. And because you already built rapport first, because you had this conversation that was interesting, and many times you did what I said, you had a warm introduction, it makes it very easy to do this. And then after that, you can start to build a deeper connection, because now she's going to be invested in the conversation. She's going to be interested in you. And you just keep teasing or challenging or messing around with her, having fun, creating that fun vibe. which then you can ask deeper questions to get to know her. But the mistake that a lot of guys make is they just have this friendly conversation to nowhere for the next 30 minutes. They never escalate, they never, flirt, they never push the boundaries a little bit. And so they just remain in the friend zone. Or worse, they try and build a deep connection the whole time, but there's no attraction. The way you want to think about it is you want comfort first, then you want attraction, and then you want comfort after the attraction. So that's how I think about it. Like, I build comfort first, so she's comfortable enough talking to me in a friendly manner, she's interested. Then you build attraction. Then you have comfort after the attraction, or building a connection, so you have a bond. That is how you then start to meet people, and within a few weeks, you could have a lot of numbers and dates are going on, and you could meet someone. Does that mean you're going to get a girlfriend necessarily? No, of course not, right? You want to make sure you screen the girls out and don't just date the first person you meet. But the point is, you have a lot more options than you would have had previously. So I want you to take this game plan, move with it, and also if you want direct help with this, be sure to click the link in the description and book a call with me, and we'll go over exactly what you're doing. I'll analyze your life, what's going wrong, what's going good, and give you a game plan of what you can do to get a girlfriend in the next 60 to 90 days. So do that, and I'll see you in the next video.